This is All India Radio.
Radioscope, the National Science Magazine program.
Good evening and welcome to the National Science Magazine Radioscope. We live in an era of science and technology. Scientific temper, scientific methodology combined with scientific data analysis is the mantra of our modern-day society. Science is the essence of the past with the logic of the present and vision for the future. Experimentation with fusion of creativity and ingenuity in a realm of reality is the way forward. I'm Ritu Sandhu with the Science News. 108th session of Indian Science Congress was held at RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur, from 3rd to 7th January 2023. The theme of Science Congress was Science and Technology for Sustainable Development with Women Empowerment. Scientists and researchers from India and abroad had gathered for exchange of ideas and presentations of their research initiatives. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi inaugurated the 108th session of Indian Science Congress and expressed his views.
21वीं सदी के आज के भारत में हमारे पास दो चीजें बहुतायन में है। पहली डेटा और दूसरी टेक्नोलॉजी। इन दोनों में भारत के साइंस को नई बुलंदियों पर पहुंचाने की ताकत है। डेटा एनालिसिस की फील्ड तेज रफ्तार से आगे बढ़ रही है। ये इंफॉर्मेशन को इंसाइट में और एनालिसिस को एक्शनेबल नॉलेज में बदलने में मदद कर, चाहे ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज हो या मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी, ये दोनों ही साइंटिफिक डिस्कवरी में मददगार होते। आज का भारत जिस साइंटिफिक अप्रोच से आगे बढ़ रहा है, हम उसके नतीजे भी देख रहे हैं। साइंस के क्षेत्र में भारत तेजी से वर्ल्ड के टॉप कंट्रीज में शामिल हो रहा है। 2015 तक हम 130 देशों की ग्लोबल इनोवेशन इंडेक्स में 81 नंबर पर थे, लेकिन 2022 में हम छलांग लगा करके 40वें नंबर पर पहुंच गए।
Frequent outbreaks of avian flu in Kerala requires diagnostic studies. Contact with migratory birds is being considered as the likely trigger. The XBB 1.5 Omicron recombinant variant has shown an increase in the northeastern parts of United States. However, there are no signs of any such outbreak in India. A new study at the University of Illinois, Urbana, USA suggests harvesting oceanic water vapor as a solution to limited supplies of fresh water in various locations globally. The Indian Institute of Science Education Research, Pune, has come up with a custom-designed, unique molecular sponge-like material, macro or microporous ionic organic framework which can clear polluted water. Geologists have said that McLeodganj in Himachal Pradesh could have a similar situation as Joshimath in Uttarakhand, as the number of structures on the hill were already beyond its load-carrying capacity, and the area falls in the category of tectonically active sliding zone. These were the news highlights for this edition of Radioscope. Let us remember the scientists who were born in the month of January. Sir Isaac Newton, the genius who was a mathematician, a physicist, astronomer, and a theologian. He was born in the month of January. We now move from Newtonian mechanics to quantum mechanics. Talking to us is Professor Arvind, a physicist and Vice Chancellor, Punjabi University, Patiala.
The physics is an old subject, and the theoretical or the philosophical framework of physics became very precise in 17th century with the beginning of Newton's laws. 18th and 19th centuries saw a lot of development in physics. However, the philosophical framework remained the same. It was in the beginning of 20th century that new phenomena which was observed, for example, the radiation coming out of matter or photoelectric effect and many other things which fundamentally challenged the framework of Newtonian physics, and a new science called the quantum physics was invented in the first 20 years of the 20th century. Quantum physics has a very different way of looking at the world. The common human intuition does not work in the quantum world. For example, an electron can be at two different places at the same time, and that has to be accepted as a fundamental reality. Same is true with other elementary particles. Another thing is that if you make a measurement on any object, you don't only learn about that object, you also affect that object. Is a science which is aimed at building new kinds of computers, which we call quantum computers, which is now being talked about in industry, research and technology circuits all over the world. Everyone now knows that in the coming 20-30 years, we will have quantum computers available. These quantum computers will be able to execute tasks which our regular computers cannot even imagine to do. Two such important tasks are, for example, database searches. If you have a completely unstructured database, you can search it using a quantum computer. Factorization of large numbers, which is impossible on a regular computer, can be efficiently done on a quantum computer. To summarize, what I am saying is that quantum physics, which emerged in the beginning of 20th century, has revolutionized our way of thinking about the world at all levels and has also been responsible for a large number of new technologies which have emerged in the last 100 years. And the future technologies are going to be quantum in a major way.
This was a contribution of All India Radio, Patiala. Padma Vibhushan awardee Satyendra Bose, a physicist and a fellow of the Royal Society, was born in the month of January. He is known for his contributions in quantum mechanics and Bose-Einstein correlations. Nobel laureate Dr. Hargobind Khorana, a biochemist, was born in the month of January. His area of research included demonstrating the role of nucleotides in protein synthesis. Professor Raja Ramanna, a nuclear physicist, was awarded the Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan, was also born in the month of January. We remember all these great scientists who, with their dedication and scientific contributions, benefited the society as a whole. Now, let us go over to All India Radio Nagpur, who have contributed a report on 108th Indian Science Congress held at RTM Nagpur University, Nagpur.
The Science Congress is a one-of-its-kind event in the country. It brings together scientists and researchers not just from the premier institutions and laboratories, but also science teachers and professors from colleges and universities. It offers a platform for their interaction with students and the general public on matters related to science. The Rashtrasanta Tukadoji Maharaj Nagpur University is celebrating its 100th year, the centenary this year, and there could not be a better idea than hosting country's biggest scientific congregation to mark this year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated Indian Science Congress in Nagpur. He attended the inaugural function via video conferencing. He spoke on increasing participation of women and termed it as a reflection of the progress of society and science. He pointed out that women's participation in extramural research has doubled over the last 8 years. Prime Minister also mentioned that India has been given the opportunity to preside over G20 and the women-led development is one of the high priority subjects taken up by the chair. While highlighting the importance of science in today's world, the Prime Minister said that efforts of science can bear fruit only when they go from labs to land. PM acknowledged the role of low-cost satellite launch vehicles in the booming space sector in India and pointed to the importance of quantum computing. He stressed the need to focus on futuristic ideas as well as the importance of keeping artificial intelligence, augmented reality and virtual reality as priorities. Governor of Maharashtra Bhagat Singh Koshyari, Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Development Nitin Gadkari, Union Minister for Earth Sciences and Technology Dr. Jitendra Singh, Maharashtra CM Eknath Shinde, Deputy CM Devendra Fadnavis also attended the inaugural function. This year, the General President of the Science Congress Association was Dr. Vijayalakshmi Saxena. Nagpur University's Vice Chancellor Subhash Chaudhary, Pro-Vice Chancellor Sanjay Dudhe and their team was behind successful organization of the Indian Science Congress. Plenary sessions in Indian Science Congress featured Nobel laureates, leading Indian and foreign researchers, experts and technocrats from the wide variety of fields including space, defense, IT and medical research. The technical sessions showcased path-breaking and applied research in agriculture and forestry sciences, animal veterinary and fishery sciences, anthropological and behavioral sciences, chemical sciences, earth system sciences, engineering sciences, environmental sciences, information and communication and technology, material sciences, mathematics, medical, new biology, physical sciences, and plant sciences. The 5-day conference brainstormed the ideas to provide education and research opportunities for women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The Children's Science Congress, Farmers Science Congress, and first ever Tribal Science Congress were also organized. Together, it provided a platform for various sections of the society to showcase their scientific endeavor. The grand exhibition Pride of India was a special attraction of this conference. Students and researchers from across the country had opportunity to interact with Nobel laureate Professor Ada Yonath, an eminent scientist, through technical sessions at this conference. Known for her pioneering discoveries in the structure and function of ribosomes, Israeli crystallographer Ada Yonath was the only Nobel laureate to attend Indian Science Congress at Nagpur. In her expert lecture, she said that understanding ribosomes could help scientists find new, effective, environment-friendly and better antibiotics in future. The Indian Science Congress 2023 had total 16,143 delegate registrations. The Pride of India exhibition at the Indian Science Congress displayed the achievements of government, corporates, PSUs, academic and research institutes, innovators and entrepreneurs from across the country. The exhibition of Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, and COVID vaccine makers were the special attractions. The exhibition also had a dedicated section known as Hall of Pride, which showcased life and achievements of Indian women scientists. In EduVision section, premier education institutions gave their presentations under one roof. A special feature of this year's Indian Science Congress was a visible focus on public health issues. Padma Shri awardee Rahibai Popere was present as chief guest in Farmers as well as Women's Science Congress. She said every village in the country must have a seed bank and the aim should be to have a chemical-free food in every home. India's first Tribal Science Congress was organized on the second day of the Indian Science Congress. The gathering of experts spoke about startups and career guidance for tribal youth and women participants. Unique hallmark of the Indian Science Congress this year was the Children's Science Congress. It was organized to provide opportunity to children to use their scientific temperament and knowledge and to realize their creativity through scientific experiment. Thousands of school children visited Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Dome, the venue of Children's Science Congress, as well as the exhibition in which 81 science projects created by young scientists from across the country were on display. For the valedictory function, Nobel laureate Ada Yonath was the chief guest, and the newly elected president of the Indian Science Congress, Dr. Arvind Saxena, were present on the occasion. At the end of the program, outgoing President Dr. Vijayalakshmi Saxena handed over the torch of the next Indian Science Congress to the newly appointed President, Dr. Arvind Saxena.
Professor U.C. Banerjee from Amity University, Mohali, Chandigarh, won the R.C. Mehrotra Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award at the Indian Science Congress at Nagpur. We talked to him about his achievements.
Basically, I'm a technical man having the degrees in biochemical engineering and biotechnology. So I wanted to give some benefits to the society of our research. You can say in the applied microbiology or in the biochemical engineering. And for this, I was awarded this for the Lifetime Achievement Award. Initially, when I came to Chandigarh in 1984, I joined as a scientist in the Institute of Microbial Technology, Chandigarh. And there I worked on the different projects. The project were in the Biochemical Engineering Research and Process Development Center. We carried out a lot of projects on this one. One of the most prominent project was the alcohol production by a thermotolerant, ethanol-tolerant yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. We took the whole thing in association with another CSR laboratory and took the technology up to 3,000 liter reactors. And then another one, we worked with another scientist, that is the thrombolytic enzymes. And this thrombolytic enzyme was made from a microorganism. And this microorganism was cultivated, nurtured, everything by us. And we cultivated it in 150 liter scale, where we optimized the whole agitation, aeration, and all other parameters to grow more and more streptokinase by Streptococcus equisimilis. And the technology was finally given to the two leading technical houses in the country. And the third one, we worked on an antibiotic, which is rifamycin. But rifampicin is known as an anti-tuberculosis antibiotic. Rifamycin or rifampicin is used in the market, but that is produced by fermentation. So this Nocardia mediterraneae, the microorganism, which was capable of producing this rifamycin B, which was biologically inactive. So we wanted to make the biologically active rifamycin by the enzymatic transformation. And one organism was isolated from the nature, and that was Carbullaria lunata, and that produced a lots of your rifamycin oxidase, which produced the rifamycin B to rifamycin S, and S is then reacted with the different types of your chemicals. In this whole process, we developed the technology. We had given the technology in 9.5 liters and in 15 liters reactors, and had shown to the two leading companies in India, and we exclusively given the technology to them, and the institute has earned a lot of money. And then in 2000, I changed my service from the Institute of Microbial Technology to the National Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research. At present we are importing lots of your material from China and other things. There are 57 compounds which has been earmarked which we can produce in our country by the fermentation technology, which has been more or less ignored. And nowadays the things have come up again, and by our Prime Minister's initiative and all these things, we have started to produce our own technology, and we will plan to do this in this institute also.
Professor Banerjee, I would like you to share your experience in Nagpur when you were given this lifetime award for your meritorious work all through the career with our listeners also.
See, I was very much excited. I was told that your academic performance, your HI index, these, that, so many other things perform. So that's why we are giving you one of the best awards. I was really very much thankful to the president of the ISCA and the RTM University Vice Chancellor, and our Vice Chancellor of this Amity University, Punjab, Mohali. And he was very much excited that, yes, got it, and he was behind this in the whole process.
Our team at All India Radio Chandigarh recorded Dr. Indranil Banerjee from IISER Mohali, who has done pioneering work in the field of COVID management, especially antivirals. Sanjeev Dosajh talked to him on his research initiatives.
My first question to you is, what is the status of COVID in the world today?
So as we know that COVID has ravaged the communities all over the world, and we have been very lucky and we've been very successful in preventing the viruses through rapid immunization throughout the world and also developing antivirals. The recent surge in COVID that we are seeing in the Southeast Asian countries, especially China, is also a concern. But I think that with the vaccination that has happened all over the world, will prevent further surges, and the antivirals which are currently being developed will be quite useful in warding off the virus in the fight in an effective way. So our lessons, the lessons that we have learned from our past against different viruses such as influenza, Zika, Ebola, AIDS, so on and so forth, helped us enormously to prepare ourselves to fight the coronavirus pandemic that we have witnessed and we are still witnessing.
Professor Banerjee, as the COVID-19 virus kept mutating and the recent variant, that is the XBB 1.5, which is a variant of Omicron, what is the probability of this virus affecting people in India, and how are we going to fight that virus if we get more number of cases in our country?
Well, with the increased mobility that we are seeing in the modern world, there's every possibility that this virus will also invade the Indian population. But the good thing is that most of the Indian population has been already vaccinated, and there are good antivirals which are currently out in the market. And I think that with vaccines and antivirals, we are in a very good position to fight against the new variants. I personally think that this coronaviruses will keep on mutating and new variants will emerge in future. But since we are armed with robust vaccines and antivirals, I think we'll be able to fight the new variants which recently emerged or which will emerge in future in an effective way. So I think we must protect ourselves as we did in 2020, 2021. We should continue wearing masks and follow the hygiene guidelines laid down by WHO, CDC, and other government agencies. So I hope that all of this would help us in fighting the new variants, even if it enters or it will eventually enter this population. I'm hopeful that it will not cause the devastation that the Delta variant caused.
Dr. Indranil, sometimes the host wins and sometimes the virus wins. I was thinking that particular area of population gets infected and gets a severe kind of COVID, and the similar population doesn't get that severe kind of COVID reaction. Why this difference in two populations?
That's another very good question. So far, we have been only monitoring virus evolution. The virus is continuously evolving, they are mutating, they are producing new variants. But also, we need to think that the virus genome replicates in the host, and the host genome also responds to viral infection. So it's the interaction between the virus and the host that determines the final outcome. We have found out in our recent study that there are human gene variants which make us susceptible to viral infection, and some of the variants help the virus or help the infection to progress to severe conditions. So it's not only the viral genome that determines the outcome of the infection, but also our own genetic makeup that determines whether a person who is infected will have a mild condition or progress to severe condition or even critical condition or die.
Finally, Dr. Indranil, from your experience, how long will it take for the virus to stop growing, mutating and spreading, and finally the COVID fear is eliminated from the world?
Viruses have stayed on this planet more than the animals and plants for billions of years. So they have only mutated, they have changed their nature. But I believe that viruses will stay for a long, long time. We only have to learn how to deal with the viruses, how to fight new infections. And I don't think that the coronaviruses will just go away. The fear will stay for some time because it is the devastation it has caused in the last 2 years. And the entire world has been quite ravaged by this virus. But taking experience from influenza, which caused several pandemics and epidemics over the last century, I think that coronavirus will stay for a long time. We only have to learn how to deal with this virus.
The year 2023 is the International Year of the Millets, the ancient grains for a healthy future. Millets are popularly known as mota anaj in Hindi. Apart from being inexpensive, are easier to grow and are rich in many vitamins, minerals and fibers. Millets can be included with our daily intake of rice and wheat. Millets are climate-friendly crops. Apart from health benefits, are resilient to climate change, are pest-free and demand less input of chemical fertilization to grow, requiring minimum rainfall for growth and even sustain in drought-prone areas. A viable option for small and marginal farmers. All India Radio Delhi talked to a few entrepreneurs in this field.
Let's speak to Venkat Bhojaraj, who's come all the way from Bengaluru. Welcome to Delhi, first of all.
Thank you, sir.
When did you enter the field of millets?
Mr. Jaykumar happens to be a person who worked for Microsoft for over 18 years. He was in the US, in Seattle. His passion drew him back to India, wanted to serve the farmers and the society. His intent was to see and ensure that something healthy and nutritive is being given to everybody, especially for the children who are having these nutrition deficiencies. So keeping that in mind, we developed initially cookies made out of millets, later on with instant drinks, ready to cook. As of date, we are proud to say that we have got the world's first millet soups that also dispensed from a dispenser. Now these dispensers we want to see and ensure that it is there in places where tea and coffee are served.
Venkat, how many types of millets do you deal with in your product?
We have got actually 8 varieties of millets: ragi, jowar, bajra, proso, kodo, foxtail, barnyard and little. So we use all the 8 millets. We have blended 25 grains. That is, we have got a porridge which is made by 25 grains. We have named it as a 25G. We have got another one which has got 98% of millets which we use. We have got 6 varieties of soups, namely tomato, beetroot, lemon, pumpkin, spinach and hot and sour. In our other variant, we have a drink wherein it's called the moco and a choco. Apart from that, we have got 2 more drinks which are plain, where people who are diabetic, who have other issues, they just mix it with anything that they want, whether it can be a buttermilk, it can be a milk, or even plain water would be enough.
With that, we come to the end of today's edition of National Science Magazine Radioscope. This was a presentation of Chandigarh station of All India Radio. Narration, Ritu Sandhu. Assistance in production, Raman. Produced by Sanjeev Dosajh.
Radioscope, the National Science Magazine program.